In the early days of American colonization, the territory known as coastal North Carolina was considered a hot, muggy, watery, and swampy wasteland. These attributes slowed its colonial development. Conversely, the shallow sound at its entrance left it open for colonization. Then in the early to middle 1600s, the population of Virginia grew, and the religious group known as the English Quaker colonists who resided there began looking elsewhere for cheaper available land that they could settle. The Quakers disliked the Anglican Church, and even worse, they balked at the social strata of the times. They paid no allegiance to the lords and ladies of the mother country, so they looked southward to the backwater area of coastal North Carolina and South Carolina. In these territories they could farm and practice their own brand of religion without interference from the Anglican Church and England. There they could be free to trade with the Indians, hunt, and avoid English military service. At the same time, Anglican settlers began arriving by ship. One of these early groups were men of England, loyal to king and country. They were the men that distributed the money and appointments to the colonists. But there was a third group that settled the area, and they were known to swear allegiance to no one. They came to North Carolina because it was a backwater, far away from English authorities. Some came for plunder and piracy. Some came just to begin a new life. In 1663, King Charles II decided it was time to convert this largely unregulated and untaxed territory into a colony. The king appointed 8 English aristocrats, also known as the Lord Proprietors, to govern this new territory. Let us meet these 8 fine proprietors. They were Edward Earl of Clarendon, George Duke of Albemarle, William Earl of Craven, Sir John Lord Berkeley, Anthony Lord Ashley, Earl of Shaftesbury, Sir John Carteret, Sir John Colton, and Sir William Berkeley. These men ruled from England, selling land, appointing governors, and serving as the law in the North Carolina and South Carolina territories. They also expected the colonists to pay their share of taxes, and at first, things were not so good. Eastern North Carolina was underdeveloped with few colonists, so the return on investment was at first meager. The Lord Proprietors needed to find a way to boost the profits of this backwater area, so they could also boost their own profits. South Carolina had the port of Charlestown, which greatly improved the local population and the Lord's profits. What North Carolina needed was a port of its own. North Carolina had another problem. It was developing a reputation for harboring pirates, criminals, and other riffraff, and the locals in this area were also known to be anti-establishment types who hated taxes and authority. Things had to change. Things did change, and in 1696, the proprietors decided because of the population growth, a new second county was needed in North Carolina, which was to be called the County of Bath. This new county was to be made up of 3 districts: Pamlico, Wickham, and Archdale. The audience may know them better as Beaufort, Hyde, and Craven, which is what they were renamed to in 1712. On the River Pamlico in this new county, there already existed a natural port for fur trading, located at what was then called the village of Pamtico. The village was named after the Algonquin Pomoic tribe. This little village of Pamtico was renamed to Bathtown and chartered on March 8, 1705. In 1750, North Carolina Governor Charles Eden petitioned the Lord Proprietors in England to make the township of Bath into an official port. On August 1st of 1716, Bathtown officially got its port status. The port was known for exporting pitch, tar, and turpentine, plus other items. The 1700s was a profitable time for Bath Harbor, as the sloops and schooners offloaded their goods to smaller vessels in Ocracoke to be transported to Bath. But deeper water ports like Charleston, Baltimore, Beaufort, Newbern, and Wilmington began to supplant Port Bath. Washington, North Carolina also began to grow where Bath did not, and in the early 1790s, the Port Bath Customs District vanished, replaced by the new Continental Customs District of Washington, North Carolina. On May 28, 2016, Bathtown will celebrate its long history with the 300th anniversary of its proclamation as the first port of North Carolina. This celebration will be combined with Bath Fest and marked with living history interpreters, craft fairs, and food vendors, as well as live fireworks. There also may be some other surprises on that day. I hope the listener will consider a visit to Bath on May 28th to experience some of the history of our glorious state.